Okay, for anyone out there watching, this is a budget workshop for the city of Ottawa. So I don't know who's on board to start here.
Mr. Duttlinger has the floor.
Yeah, I think it's just me today.
It is, yeah.
Good, you got 10 minutes.
I can talk really fast. All right, I understand community development is first, and I guess to start overall, the overall budget is only $12,000 more than last year. We've got clerical, which I assumed a 3%, professional staff, other employees, part-time. Same thing, I assume a 3% increase on those, just for budgeting purposes. Meal allowance, dues and training are the same. Office supplies are the same. Software upgrades, we typically have the same things every year. I did increase the sidewalk program by a couple $1,000. And postage dues, computer spa's the same. Probably the biggest difference is, because you see the $1.2 million, is the $250,000 IDA Strong Communities grant, but that's 100% grant.
Where's that at now?
That is in professional contractual and item 410. So you'll be in your descriptions somewhere.
Professional.
Yeah, there's $250,000 for the IDA grant, but that is a $250,000 grant, so that's a zero out for the city.
Okay.
And there's also the Morton Urban and Community Forest Grant, which is $18,000 grant out of the $44,650. So I've got 1.258 million, but when you take out the 250 and the 18, which will be on the income side, we've only got 990. It was 978 last year, so it's pretty much the same, just a little bit of percentage increases here and there.
Tom, in 4131-170, there was an increase of about $6,000 under part-time on the first page.
Yes.
Was there any specific reason for?
Yes, Matt and Adam asked me if I could put in some part-time in there because they feel like it's getting difficult to keep up with all the inspections and all the nuisance reports. And what's really added to their plate is the derecho and the general amount of trees that we have. We had the strike team come through and we've removed all of the trees that they deemed as dangerous. We still have 20 more that the arborist has determined need to come down that we need to get. And we have, I would hazard a guess, 50 or so applications for tree inspections that at this particular moment we're putting on hold, waiting for the the tree survey to be done, which is supposed to start in April, I understand. And hopefully in a couple of months we'll have a pretty good idea on a lot of those trees and they'll all be entered into our GIS system. But the short answer to your question is they asked me if I could try to put something in the budget for that.
Does John Leafhart fall under this too?
Yes.
Okay.
And I had been talking with John for a while, and there was a glitch on whether or not he would have issues with his pension. And that all got resolved. And so I spoke with him earlier this week, and he's interested. He doesn't want anything full-time. He just wants to help out on, commercial stuff. He doesn't want to be climbing up on a roof. So tomorrow, John and I and Tom and Matt will meet to discuss. But I was thinking just on a part-time basis, similar to the pay that we do for the plumber and electrical inspector.
They actually, JJ, they actually asked me for full-time help, but I said, let's see if we can get part-time and see where it goes. So.
Thanks.
We done with that one?
Any other questions from anyone?
Nope. Public Works.
Oh. Yeah, we'll get this one out of the way. Okay. You can look through it and see which line items are the same. I'm just going to go through the ones that are different, if that's okay with you guys.
Yep.
Overall, it's a request for $492,000 more than last year.
What, is this where you're including the 200,000 for that repair on the bridge too?
Yes. And I'll get to that. Just in salaries, there's an extra 90,000, because we only had the one that was half a year last year, plus we hired an additional janitor. So there's 90,000 more in salaries, so there's 90 of it right there. Under 330, which is repairs and maintenance streets, was 55,000 last year, so I included that same 55,000. In addition to that, we've got the Champlain Street pedestrian / water main bridge that needs to be repaired. And I have an estimate on that of about $90,000 from Charlie Sheridan to do that work. And we also have to do scour repairs at the Main Street Bridge under the abutment based on a bridge inspection, which they said to budget $100,000. They hope 80, but budget 100. So that line item increased by $200,000. The repairs and maintenance for streets, I got $1 million last year. That's all I'm asking for this year. It's no increased amount. And I'll go over that later, but it combines here. The total street budget, again, this year is planned to be about 1.9 million. Million from the general, 700,000 from the motor fuel tax, and about 200,000 from TIFs, which is similar to last year's project. Equipment line item, I'm asking for another $80,000 on top of what I had last year.
Let me ask you one question on
Yes.
traffic signal maintenance. Okay, we're doing 300 some odd thousand. I noticed that back in 2018, 2019, we only did 115,000.
Right, that is, the problem is the Norris Drive in Columbus and also the Hit Street at the bridge. That all ran through us, but it was 100% reimbursed by IDOT, so that's a little misleading number.
Okay.
There should be, by the end of the fiscal year, a matching income for that amount from IDOT, so yes. That's why I didn't up it.
Right.
That wasn't our cost.
We definitely got to look at LaSalle Street going up, or Columbus Street going up the hill to get them lights in sequence, because they're not in sequence at all.
I agree, and that's been a problem since they started the pedestrian bridge project. It's getting worse. And I hopefully that has a punch list on it, and I believe that's one of the things to finish it up here this spring, and hopefully Sonoma will come back and get everything timed correctly. I think I was on the equipment, okay. What's in there right now is a new leaf vac for 57,000. Our 2 leaf vacs are getting very old and kind of patch them together every year. A 3/4 ton truck with a snow plow, a tilt trailer for our big Bobcat, because we can't really, when we try to run up a trailer with ramps on it, it has a tendency to bend the ramps. And we've done it to a couple trailers and had to fix them. And the next one is a 550 dump with a snow plow. We replaced one this year. I'd like to replace another one next year. 2 new mowers and a trailer for our, we got a pressure washer. It's a hot water pressure washer, and we'd like to have a trailer with a water tank on it.
Tom, what line item is this on?
Equipment, which is 740.
740.
What the hell is that?
There we go. Oh, okay, now we're
Got a couple pages away.
Page 23 or 20.
Yeah, it is a couple pages.
23.
Couple pages.
follow along now.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I said I was just gonna go through the things that changed.
Oh,
The rest of them, if you want to, yeah, they're just, they're the same as last year, because they seem to work. And then we've got in buildings, the police, the main station, police and fire are asking for $66,700 in building improvements.
So that's 41202.
Yes,
Yes.
41202.
okay, we backed up.
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry. Well, I skipped over that one because I forgot about
You're
it.
fine.
Are we gonna actually get the south side building done in this year's budget, or?
That seems to be a never-ending project, to be honest with you. I'd like to say yes. So at the main police and fire station, they've got an HVAC services agreement with Marcelo Sheet Metal, a control services agreement, which is they've had every year. They need annual fuel pump inspections for $1,000. Brent is requesting a floor polisher for $1,000. We have one here at City Hall that we take back and forth right now, but Brent would like to have one at the police station.
Don't we have any drug money?
I don't know. And basically the Sally ports painting along with the exterior doors, the hose tower, the apparatus bay is painting of the whole fire and police station. Or I'm sorry, the Sally port for the fire and the entire inside of the garage area for the, so that totals about 40,000, 39,900. And they are requesting an iWave air purifier system for their HVAC system, which is $9,000. So that's that line item. The next one is 41203, which is the Southside Fire Station, which also has an HVAC service agreement, control service agreement, generator service agreement. They're asking for an iWave air purifier HVAC system in the amount of $1,300, and they would also like to paint the interior of the doors, the interior bay, and the apparatus bay for $17,400, which totals $27,300. Last year, City Hall, which is 41204, we had a line item in there for $7,000. I put $10,000 in there. I can't say that I have a specific project in mind, but things come up. I don't think it's an unreasonable amount. IVCC was 7,500. We didn't overspend that. I'm sorry, it was 11,000. We didn't overspend that. 7,500 in other, 5,000 in the Peltier in case things come up, and then NCAP building is 10,000, same as last year. So the changes in that, that's about $60,000, $80,000 more, are generally from the police and fire. Our last item, which is not technically one item, but construction in progress, Riverwalk, Boat Docks, East Side Park, Pit Park. Those are the funds I have to work with, but overall, what I'm looking at is $25,000, which is our annual agreement with Dayton Bluffs. $6,000 to do some drainage repairs down at the East Main boat launch. $25,000 for work at Washington Park, which includes some new power towers and some wiring in there. Allen Park light replacements too, I left that in there. Riverwalk, I left that in there for some Riverwalk money, and $610,000 for Thornton Park.
Right, which is reimbursable of 305, correct?
City funds is $326,543. Grant funds are $283,458. So of that 610, we've got a $326,000 expense. The bids came in, we're taking on that yesterday. And they came in, I wrote it down somewhere, with the base bid and the alternates that Tammy looked at, she wanted to award, was $608,239.
Down at Thornton Park?
Yeah. So the budget 610, the bids were at 608.
And you picked out the colors and everything?
That's all been done by the consultant.
Okay.
Any questions? Seeing none. Enterprise zone. That's what everybody has next?
Yep.
Okay. There's really not a whole lot for income in here. We've got the IVCC rent plus vending, which is 36701 for 117.5, which I assume is the same as last year. We've got a transfer coming in from Parks and Rec for $40,000, a transfer from the general fund for $180,000, which there's a mistake on that. I don't know if you have, how much detail you have. I'm showing payment 2 of 13, it's actually payment 2 of 10. For 180,000, that was for payment for the Route 71 sewer project. And then a transfer in from the hotel motel fund, payment 3 of 5, 40,000 for the canal rewatering. So total income of 389,500. We've got some miscellaneous expenses, part of the professional salaries were in there last year, so it's going to be in there again this year. I threw in $60,000 for construction in progress in case we need, we have some budgets elsewhere for some wayfinding signs and for this and for that, and things come up. Total expenses 175. Estimated ending balance of 1.1 million.
I know we talked about it at one point in time, the cannabis money going in this fund instead of the general fund. I don't know where we're at with our income projections yet, so I don't.
Well, on the income for the cannabis fund, okay, we are taking, how much we're taking in so far, 200?
I can tell you in just a minute.
Yeah.
180 thus far,
180 so far,
but we missed,
but,
It started in June, right?
we
right,
got in October for July was the
Right,
first
July
one, so we're, yeah.
yeah. But what we gotta look at is when the governor opens up the other 85
Right.
dispensaries,
Mhm.
it's gonna really drop.
It is.
Yeah, so.
That's why I'm saying with
It's
that
gonna be
money,
hard to,
that's why we shouldn't be putting that money in the general fund. We should be putting it in the special projects type of things. And then if we don't lose, when we lose some of it, it doesn't matter that much.
Mhm.
So, okay.
the thought we can work on it, we just have to decide among the 5 of us.
I agree. I think we talked about that, but I think last year, in order to try to get the budget balanced.
Well, and there was an uncertainty about how
and it
much was going to
COVID, we
get
didn't know
too,
what
so.
was gonna happen. and,
Right.
But we certainly can look at doing something like that.
You know, if he goes a whole, another 10 years or so without doing them 85, it'll be happy for us.
Yeah.
We done with that? Motor fuel tax?
Yeah, we're on the order.
Yep.
Okay. Motor fuel tax, and it goes up and down, and, gas prices go up, gas prices go down, usage goes down. We're estimating 12 monthly allotments of 56,900, which is 682,800. We also are getting our Rebuild Illinois bond funds, $200,000 at a clip, so that'll be $400,000. But at this particular moment, there's some discussion about altering that, but we cannot use that money on street maintenance. It needs to be used for specific projects. So the first,
The whole street?
we're getting 1.2 million total.
Yeah.
So the first 600,000 we have earmarked to Autumnwood Drive, which will be reconstructed next year, up by the old Corsini Road.
At an airport thing.
Right.
That's a disaster.
Right, so that'll be reconstructed all the way from north, whatever road that is. The T at the north end by Conway's
Yeah.
property, all the way down
30th.
North 30th, thank you. And then all the way down Autumnwood Drive and east along Evans Street to the concrete we already installed.
Right.
So that'll be done in next construction season, so we're gonna use about half of our 1.2 million, 600,000 on that as our match.
So that is a project then?
Yes, that's a project and that's allowed.
Okay.
But I had received another memo recently that there's been a lot of towns that say, hey, we really don't have anything or can't come up with a project that's within our smaller towns especially.
Right.
So they're talking about maybe towns under 50,000, allowing them to use it on street maintenance. If we can't, something we've discussed is, I just got another email yesterday and one today about Green Street from FEMA. They're still doing the review, but they're getting closer, that we could use it for our match for Green Street elevation. So there's another project we could use it for. So anyway, that's just the income, and then the expenditures. I just made an estimate. I'm going to do a motor fuel tax resolution for $700,000 on the next agenda. I showed 892,800, so something else could come up. We done with that? Flood buyout. I understand has a beginning balance about the same as it had last year, which was 39,000. Had some interest on investments for $100, and that's about it. What's next? Ottawa's blooming.
Not right now. Well, it really happened a few weeks at the.
Not yet, yeah.
We might
To be honest with you, this is the first year I did this, and I looked at the last couple of years' numbers, and I just matched last year's budget for it.
Probably right.
Whoops. Growth impact in general income, 34418 is the expectation of $100,000 from the Morris Hospital or whoever develops on that property toward the $300,000 streetlight project at Columbus and De Leon Streets. It wasn't done. So it looked like it was going to move forward, but it didn't, that project, and whether it ever will, I don't know. I have no indication. I have no indication one way or the other from them. They did obviously do their demolition there, tore the houses down, and there it sits.
But it made it look better.
Yeah, it definitely did. So you'll see that a lot of the planned income items are the same as last year. 100,000, 18,000 from other residential. Sidewalk for the vet clinic at Novak is still in there because it wasn't done. Miscellaneous Riverwalk items is still in there for 12,000. Traffic center for 300,000 expenditure is in there. And debt service of 7780, which that goes to the water fund, who then pays it out. Shelley, is that correct? Okay. Thought that's what I remember. We do have $50,000 in our balance in our park part of this, and then the general balance is about 670,000. So there's some other improvements that were planned at Eastside Park, including Tammy, the basketball courts and other miscellaneous items, because we're spent $80,000 last year, as I recall, on the equipment, and that's being installed this year. Oh, grading and gravel for under the rubberized surface, that's what it was, and some other items, so I thought that we could take it out of here. And that's about it for that one. What's next?
Canal?
The rewatering fund.
Where we at on that anyway?
Where we at on the money, or where we at on the project?
Project. I know where we're at on the money.
At this point, the remaining work to do, the pump station has been installed in the river. The pipe is installed all the way to the west side of LaSalle Street. All the way past Guyan, Columbus, LaSalle, because when the wall was constructed, we hadn't put the pipe underneath LaSalle and Columbus, so it was already there. So we went and connected into it, and that's where the water will come out. The remaining work on the pump station is to some minor electrical and to install the pumps. Because we got to a point in December where we were ready to do that, and there was no power there. You saw that came in over the winter. But there was no point in putting pumps in there, because we weren't going to use them anyway. Why let them sit through the winter? So that's what's ready. I'm supposed to get a schedule on that here in the next week or so.
Is the outflow for that, is the outflow for the pipe coming in, basically the inlet into the canal, is that little concrete flared end section with some riprap on it?
Yeah, west of LaSalle Street, yes. And then flows to the east and goes out at Guyan Street into the storm sewer. Yeah, I mean, we were going to stop at Guyan, and then we were going to stop here and there, and thought, you know what, let's just, because a good portion of that 2,000 feet of it was donated by the pipe fitters and the operators.
I thought maybe later down the road, if there was some funding available, or if there was somebody that wanted to donate some money where that outfall is, to maybe do something with some stacked limestone to actually do kind of like a nice little waterfall coming out of it, would be kind of neat.
Well, what I'm afraid of.
But with our time constraints now, concrete flared end section, a little riprap works out pretty good.
Well, it sits up here. The other thing is, once there's going to be 3 feet of water in that canal, so it's going to be up to the outlet structure. when it's said and done. It's sitting up the hill right now, but it's gonna be pretty close to that thing. So we can look at that after we get it filled and see what it looks like.
Yeah,
It's not a bad idea.
See if it holds water.
Well, that's the other amount of work that is left to do, is when they did the design, they chose not this ESS 13 chemical that is supposed to change the soil composition and make it impermeable. There's two ways to apply it. One is to put it into the dirt and disc it in. The other one is to fill the canal up and then surface apply it to the water and let it sink down. And they chose the second alternative, so that hasn't been applied yet. John Pohar and Sons, who did the canal work, still has the chemical sitting in his shop and is ready to apply it, but we'll have to fill it up first and then apply it. And he can finish his contract out. So I'm estimating it's the end of the year here, end of this fiscal year, that fund will be about $150,000 in arrears. There's still $25,654 in donations of the $200,000 that haven't come in yet. Expenses, $20,000 in miscellaneous, some $25,000 as a placeholder for miscellaneous engineering. There'll be $50,000 or so left on Polar's contract. So expenses are 95, so the ending balance is about negative 214,000. But at the same time, that Polar's expense might be done in this budget year too. So one way or another, that's where the fund's at. So next, water.
Yep.
Okay. Projected income last year was about $3,710,000. This year, $3,997,000, based on some changes in the rates and annual increases in the rates. I'm expecting salaries to go up from 456 to 478,000. Hopefully we'll hire a part-time employee this year. Water and wastewater didn't hire any last year due to COVID restrictions. Overtime, which is 4610,180. I increased by a few thousand. 4610,240. Dues and seminars is the same. 250 health and life insurance. Office supplies 310 are the same. 320 operating supplies seem to work okay. 330 repairs and maintenance went up from 390,000 to 800,000. The main reason for that is we plan to install a generator at the central water plant for 475,000 because we've had two power outages here in the recent, and one was, the derecho. The other one was a transformer that blew up across the street in front of Monty's. It had us out for an amount of time we didn't want to be out. So I think it's, we have a generator now at well 10. We now have generators at the north and south boosters. We have a generator at well 11. And so it makes perfect sense to be able to make water at this location as well. And so power outages at that point, doesn't matter where they're at in the city, they won't affect us.
Okay.
Repairs and maintenance of vehicles about the same, telephone and internet, postage, gasoline and diesel fuel.
So what you're taking in, you're spending.
Yeah, that's pretty normal. And construction and project progress, we just took bids. I'll have to adjust that number, but we just took bids yesterday, and that project was estimated $1,040,000. Bids came in at $957,000. So equipment, I'm asking for one truck and a tilt trailer for the mini excavator. Same thing, it's got a ramp right now and it's just a little inconvenient. Yes. I am, in answer to your question, I guess, yes and no. I'm doing a permanent transfer from wastewater to water for $350,000 to cover expenses in water. But they're one fund anyway, so.
Right.
Yeah. Just a paperwork shuffle. Any questions on the water? Okay. Moving on to stormwater management. Obviously, there's a substantial amount of income planned for that fund this year, based on issuance of a bond. $10 million bond issue. I figured, 9.9 million is what we actually get. I am also anticipating an income, another $500,000 CDAP grant. I just got word from Kevin Lindeman a week or two ago that they will be making decisions on those pretty soon. How soon or if that money will be available, we'll see, but there's a project done, ready to go, sitting in the wings there.
We have one, right?
Yes, for that, because we had to get it done and designed and turned it in. The expenses, we always put a certain amount, 10,000 in our ejector pump reimbursement program. Professional services are the same. Construction in progress for separations and maintenance, 100,000 each, we put that in. Construction in progress obviously is 10.7 million, which includes our $8 million lining contract, our portion of the planned CDAP project, which is low to moderate income area. And then I've also picked out $2 million worth of sewer separations in areas that are not in low to moderate income, so they don't qualify for the CDAP grant. We'll have to pay for those 100% either way. So I picked out areas in that, and I'm going to get started on that, try to get that built this year too. I did figure in a debt service payment of $615,000 in that also. I don't know, but that's the estimate for the first bond payment. And to give you an idea, I'm still projecting that even after all expenses, we'll still have about a $666,000 balance in that fund to carry over to next year, which will make our bond payment.
Right.
But eventually that won't always happen.
Right.
Wastewater Department. The income would be the same as water generally. However, I've been carrying this over. This is the third year now, right? Second year, Shelley.
Second year.
Yes. Which is the bond that was issued for the river crossing station. The usable bond amount was actually $2,419,156. And planning on building that this year.
Perfect.
Picked a bid date tentatively of May 18th. To bid that out. It will take, I'm guessing, 12 months, so we'll run into another budget year.
We'd have a lot of construction this year.
We got a whole lot going on, yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, though, a couple of them, like the lining project and this river crossing, that's a year and a half project.
Right.
This is a year project.
Right.
The Route 71 water main project obviously is going to go this year, and that should be able to be done this construction season, I would think. Anyway, so I'm showing an income of $6,175,000. That's better. There's some increase in salaries for this year because Rick Drake's planning on retiring mid-year, so he will get his benefit time for the rest of the year. We'll have to hire somebody in his place.
You're gonna hire somebody ahead of time, right?
That's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah. It is the plan right as of right now. I understand, Commissioner, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A couple of part-time people, overtime, 240, dues education, health and life insurance, 250, office supplies are the same. Repairs and maintenance are generally the same. What I'm planning in that line item, which is 330, is some upgrades at the control panels of the Walmart regional and YMCA lift stations. A rebuild of the Chicago Road lift station because it's undersized right now. Our river pumps at the wastewater treatment plant that during floods actually pump the water out of the plant. They're going bad and they're very loud. And there's two of them and they're $175,000 a piece. So I'm going to try to replace one of them this year, maybe the next one next year. Some other lift station work to do, and then something at Pilkington for power surge, so it comes to $469,000. There's Repairs and maintenance vehicles is about the same, postage, diesel fuel. My glasses are fogging up, sorry. Utilities, professional services are the same, computer services. Equipment line item is actually $25,000 less than last year. What I'm looking at is payment 2 of the John Deere backhoe, and then a 1 truck replacement. Payment 2 or 3, so next year will be the last payment for the backhoe. Which is a really good deal. It was a $150,000 backhoe that we got in the state purchase for $100,000.
Right.
3 years, basically interest free. And then construction in progress is the river crossing station. And I have an idea it's going to cost more than that.
Sure.
When you wait on things, they
Right.
tend to go up. And when somebody asks me to estimate something that's really, really big like that, and I kind of go like this, I try to not be low, but pieces and parts add up. And if you're gonna build something like that, you wanna make sure it's not like the Cadillac, but at the same time, it's a nice, functional, safe.
Yeah.
Good looking, it's in a residential neighborhood, split face block, it needs to look nice. If you ask me right now, I'm guessing it's gonna come in about 3.5 million, so I'm thinking we're gonna have to budget next year to finish it up, because it will go over the next budget year. Debt service, here's the debt service. And then you can see that $350,000 permanent transfer to water in there. Any questions on the wastewater? Well, then I am finished.
Lots of work gonna be going on.
That's it?
Yeah, there's about, I don't know, I added it up quickly, about $24 million worth of budget right there we just went through pretty quickly.
I need to know everybody's availability for next week so we can
But
move.
it's not needed, and it's not,
Don Harris couldn't be here today, but he'll be able to come next week so we can finish up
It's
the rest
things
of it.
that,
it's not swamp.
some of it should have.
General
See, I have
corporate
revenue
Already, yes.
done.
He started doing it, but he hasn't had time to meet with me yet, so.
Thursday's fine by me.
When, next Thursday?
Everybody else,
What time?
I'll be the same, 4:30. JJ, are you available that day?
Just checking my calendar right now.
Say,
Thursday, the
On my
18th.
calendar.
The 18th? Okay,
I'm good.
Yeah, that should work, 4:30.
yep, Marla?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, then we'll adjourn to next Thursday at 4:30. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Kevin, we are done.
Woo!